Well, this is amazing that we are back with another episode in the kind of new show, but super exciting show, the Corporate Happiness Show. And why is that show? Well, I am your host, Jacqueline Pirtle. But why is that show so wonderful? Because it's very dear to my heart. You know, mindfulness, happiness, you know, being compassionate and living and working really consciously and bringing everything together so, you know, people can feel better. So welcome. And I tell you what, I am just over the moon excited because I have a special guest and all my guests are super special. Yet this one is just so fiery and so inspirational. And we already met through the focus research groups that I'm holding about happiness, mindfulness on, you know, in the workspace, and also burnout and all that kind of good stuff. And I met her through that group, and it's just her wisdom and her inspirations and her personality needs to be heard. So I asked her if she would please be on this show, and she said yes. So welcome, Sidney.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and grateful for this wonderful opportunity. So I'm excited to get started.
I know, right? Me too. You know, you said something in the email yesterday when we kind of emailed back and forth a little bit. You said, I'm so looking forward to talk about this wonderful subject about happiness in the workplace. And it just, oh my gosh, my heart was like jumping. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited because it is, right? It is wonderful to talk about that and highlight it, no?
Absolutely. It's something that I feel is thriving in many organizations, but it's also something that is missing in many organizations. And sometimes people just don't know how to, influence that or bring it into the workforce without losing, their day-to-day activities and making sure they're still productive and they're performing. So it's something that's super important. We need it in every organization. It is the only way, in my opinion, for organizations to thrive.
To move forward, right? To kind of like, you know, to hit a better, bigger, more successful, more wonderful goal, business goal for the world. And you brought something up like, you know, people just don't know. I also think that there's this aftertaste, this old recording in it, like, you know, happiness at work, you know, kind at work, you know, open heart, doing business. It's like this, there's almost like this aftertaste of it being kind of weak, you know, it being too soft, too whatnot. But times are changing. We're invited. It's actually powerful to be a good person and to be a happy person and to create a happy, you know, environment. That's mindfulness is key. Gratitude is key. It's powerful to create that. Don't you think so?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I will tell you, Jacqueline, with all of the experiences that I've had, in my background, working in higher education for 18 plus years, serving in the military in the U.S., in the United States Air Force Reserves, and, coaching and doing, leadership development and things like that. I have seen so many different scenarios where, for example, if you're in the military, they feel like you have to be super serious all the time if you're in a leadership role. And I beg to differ. I was never that way, right? I was serious at moments. I was stern when I needed to be. But people are going through life challenges each and every day. And those things do affect and come into the workplace. So we have to treat people as though they are human, as though they are real. And bringing that happiness and mindfulness into the workplace is only going to help them be more productive, right? It's going to help them perform better when we show them, hey, we care about you and what you're going through, but we also care about your happiness. We want you to thrive. We want you to succeed. So we have to bring that realness, into the workplace.
It's wonderful. It's almost like back to basics. I love it.
Yes.
It's like we're looking at it like it's a new way, or it's like, no, it's not a new way. It's back to basics. It's also not complicated. Absolutely. It's being a human being that kind of thrives from the heart. So you are I actually have to read this. You are Chief People, Culture and Operations Officer. I just love how the value that is packed into all these words, because I go off of energy. Everything is energy, and it's the word chief and people, culture, operations, and officer. It's like, to me, it's like, wow, that just says it all. So tell me a little bit about what you do and what this means to you and for you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, some people might say, I take out the trash. They might say I clean the office. I'm always trying to make sure people are taken care of. But, it is a very inspiring title. It's something that inspires me each and every day. And I'm so grateful that my CEO, Chris Moranci at Net Synergy Virtual Solutions and LT3 Group, has given me the opportunity to lead in this way. And when we did speak about, my position, it started with Chief Operations Officer. And as we continue to go forward and move forward, in the organization and, some of the things that we were doing, we looked at my personality, the energy, that you mentioned that comes with that. And just really trying to help build the best culture possible, we settled, on this actual, title, where it's Chief People, Culture, and Operations Officer. So really making sure that we are taking care of our people. It is my job to make sure that the people are taken care of. People first, right? Then processes, then technology. That is what we believe. And so we want to make sure that the operations is where it needs to be to continue to make sure that the company is growing and thriving. And in order to do that, you have to have happy people, right? That are mindful, in the workplace. So my job is really to help with business expansion and growth and developing the operations and growing out the team, but also, head of people and culture, and making sure that we are building a culture where people feel like they are psychologically safe, right? Where they can grow, they can develop, they can build resilience, in the workplace, and still be, productive. Have a good time, right? Have fun. Like you said, make things light, not super serious all the time. So that is really, a big part of my job.
I love that. And I really like how you said you guys started out with a title and then you matched it to your energy, to your personality, to who you really are. And isn't that like right there? That is exactly what's so needed and what we're invited to do. That's why things are not working and people are unhappy, because we're trying to mold them into a certain mold, and it's probably never fit, or it did fit and it's not fitting anymore. And to just turn things around and say, instead of living on these old blocks and foundations, to say, you know what, why don't we ask the people and look who they really are, and then we create for them their little, box that we can put them in. I actually prefer not to box anybody in at all, but to just kind of make it a little simpler sounding, to absolutely kind of do what you did with your title, to match the environment and their job to who they are, because I think that would actually solve so many issues, right?
Absolutely. One of the things that I feel is one of the most important, initiatives that you should do anytime you come into an organization, no matter what position you are in, is relationship building. And when I came into the organization, I met with every single person, that works in the organization, and, built that relationship, or started to build those relationships, and really took the time to ask them, how they're doing in their positions. What do they like about it? What do they enjoy the most? Are there challenges? Do they have concerns? And what do they want to see, in the organization, or from the leadership team? What are their expectations of me, but also of our leadership team? And so when I got an opportunity to do that, I absolutely loved it, because I do receive my energy from people. And so getting that energy from them, it just made me feel, more comfortable in my role to do the job that I needed to do. And that's really take care of the people. So that was the start of really figuring out, hey, we really need to match this title, to you and your personality and what it is that you are doing each and every day in the organization.
I love that. I just love that. And it highlights how great it works out. You mentioned relationship building, and what came in for me is like relationship building. Most people actually would think that Yeah, absolutely. And they actually also probably think, oh, I do that, or our company does that. But I do think there is a difference. And so, okay, relationship building, where or on what are you building that relationship? On what is it? I think the on what is actually what's really important, because
Hmm.
like I said, a lot of times relationships are built, but in a company, for instance, are you building the relationship on performance? That's all kind of like you're looking at performance, what you get out of the people, what people get out of the company. And are you building your relationship on that? And that's usually a short-lived relationship, because it ends, it
Absolutely.
doesn't go deep, and then there's all it needs is a hiccup and it's over. The relationship is not in a good situation anymore, and then we're like scratching our heads and saying, well, what just happened? Or you can build relationships on the human level, on the heart level. Who are you? Who are you? What makes
Yes.
you happy? What makes you unhappy? Where do you want to grow? Or how can we support you? And when you build
Hmm.
a relationship on that, the people build that relationship back. It's an exchange, and say, oh, that company, what can I bring in, right? I want the company to succeed. And when you build a relationship on that, when a hiccup happens, it's heart based. We're
Hmm.
all sitting
Hmm.
together and we're saying, well, what can we do? Like you come up with real good solutions that are deep and that are of well-feeling nature, meaning that
Yep.
that type of relationship is actually what we should thrive, for to really accomplish.
Absolutely. Jacqueline, you hit the nail on the head. That is the core of building relationships. I think sometimes people think that if you do that, that you lose the professionalism that goes along with it. And that is absolutely not true. Yes, we can still be professional in the workplace, but we also need to build those relationships at the core. And that means, as you mentioned, who are you? I want to know who you are, what motivates you, what drives you, who your family is, what's your dog's name, right? What are your children's names? I want to know exactly who you are, where you live, what your hobbies are. Do you love to travel? What are your favorite foods? Those are the things that really help to build a solid relationship and build trust. And then you continue to build upon that as you grow throughout the company. And one of the things that I love to do whenever I am, going into an organization or whenever I'm talking to someone, building a relationship or coaching, I want to say that coaching is very important. But one of the things that I do is focus on the grow model. I'm sure you've heard of it, Jacqueline, where the grow model focuses on understanding their goals, what their goals are in life and what their goals are in the organization. And from there, we really focus on, hey, what obstacles or challenges are in your way of, helping you reach those goals, and setting some specific measurables around that, and then figuring out that way forward. So I really love to get to know people to build that relationship, but also figure out how I can be their best supporter. I want to lead by example, but I also want to get in the trenches and help them, figure out their way forward, their path forward inside the organization, but also outside the organization, because it is a holistic approach, to this workforce or workplace environment. You really do have to care about what's happening outside as well as inside. So those things are very important to me.
I love that. I really like when you say it's holistic and it's an exchange. It's a living organism. It's never the same. Everyone changes all the time, the business
Absolutely.
too. And I like that you're bringing up growth and to be a supporter, because a lot of times it's like companies look at the company, or the leadership looks at the company and they want the company to grow, right? That's like a
Yes.
wanted thing. We want that growth. Yet on a people level, on an employee level, they don't necessarily embrace growth. So if somebody wants to grow and change, and it's like, but what are we going to do about that? But the company,
Hmm.
they want to grow, and there is a real disconnect there, because first of all, life is ever changing. It's always about growth. Every breath
Yes.
you take is new. You've never taken that breath before. It's a growth thing, it's an expansion, a calibration thing. And so going with the flow of life would be that everyone wants to grow. and
Absolutely.
supporting that, not just on the business level but on the people level, and not
Mhm.
holding them back, is actually taking that disconnect out of the equation. And I like that you support growth. So it's amazing to listen to you and say, I want to be their supporter in their growth.
Yes, and you know, it's so important. You hit the nail on the head. I read a book from John Maxwell called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And one of the laws in there is intentionality, you know, being intentional about growth. And that is really my word of the year, to focus on how to be intentional, and not just intentional with my growth, but intentional with everyone's growth within the organization. Find out what it is that they're focusing on. What is that word, or what is, that competency that they're focusing on to get better in, and then help them thrive in it. And one of the things that I'll mention is, in my previous employer, I worked in training and development. And training and development is so, so important. People, thrive when they are trained, and when they have that continuous training. You can fail as an organization if your, employees are not trained properly, but you lose their engagement, and sometimes that can lead to, high levels of turnover if you are not continuously training them and showing them ways to improve and develop in their role and in the organization and in life in general. Because sometimes people don't stay in a company for 20, 30 years anymore. They move around, they want to grow, they want to develop, they want to do different things. So we have to focus on what's important to them in terms of their growth. What is it that they want to learn? How do they want to develop? And then work with them and focus on those things. So we have to be intentional about that growth, but we have to come together as a leadership team and be on that forefront. And we have to be on the same wavelength and say, hey, we want our team, we want our organization to thrive. And that starts with growth. It starts with training, it starts with development, and with our people team. So we have to make sure that we are focusing on those things.
I love it, and I love that you brought up about coaching. I know we talked before, and you said that
Yep.
you're a big believer in coaching, because what does it really do when somebody, is being coached or trained or learns something new or gets better or become an expert in something? Well, it heightens their inspiration. It makes them
Mm-hmm.
happy. It makes them curious and wonder, and it makes them
Mm-hmm.
smarter, more professional, and all of these things. You can even hear it in my voice. It's a
Yes,
rising of an energetic level, right?
absolutely.
You go up in energy, and they bring that into the company, and that's really like with the growth thing. And also, I want to highlight. I mean, I am assuming that with coaching, you are meaning that the company pays for it, and that the employees can do it while in the work time, and not then go home and stay up, until midnight just to get that training done, right? I mean, I'm probably assuming this correctly.
Yes. That is 1000% correct. Making sure that we are offering those opportunities, right? You can do that in so many ways. You can build coaches within your organization, or you can bring coaches into the organization. And an organization really does thrive when you have those checks and balances. And that's what coaching does. It helps with checks and balances. It helps with, accountability, but it gives people that energy. Like you said, it gives them the confidence to move forward and really do everything that they want to do to the best of their abilities. And they know sort of what their strengths are when they're being coached. They also know where their areas of opportunities are. And we coach with love, right? We want to make sure that we are not, putting people down and tearing people down. We want to build them up. So we want to make sure that we are doing it in a loving and empathetic way, right? But we also want to take that time to show them that we care about their growth and their development. So coaching is so important. You can take an employee from the beginning of their start with the company, and you can see them grow and develop and come so far. We have employees sometimes that have challenges. They might hit a brick wall, and it might stem from a personal situation, or it might stem from, something that's happening in the workplace. But it doesn't mean that they don't know how to do their job. It doesn't mean that we need to, let them go. It means that we need to coach them. We need to develop them. They need to progress. in their position and in the organization. So when we focus on those things and we show them that they care, they take to that and they want to do better, and they put in the work, they put in the effort, and they put in the time to do the things that they need to do to get better from that coaching. And you can see that it's working, right? You can see that those things are working.
Oh, absolutely. It's very much working. I mean, you take you go to a driving school to learn how to drive, and it's like it makes you a better person. It
Yes.
drives you more. And then these people that are so happy and so educated and so coached and elevated, they come into the company and they lift the whole thing up too. So it's again,
Absolutely.
it's an exchange. So what would you say to this? Basically, just a few days ago, when I was talking with someone about this whole mindfulness and happiness and coaching and in the business, they said, "But do you think companies will actually invest in that? Do you think companies actually want to pay for that?" And I said, "Well, yeah, of course. Maybe not all of them, but that's okay. It's not about all of them. It's about one company at a time to
Yes.
show them and to also like have them feel why. They have to have a why. They got to feel it. And I personally think, yes, of course they will invest and pay for this. What do you think to that?
Oh, yes. I 100%. I believe that they will invest and companies will pay for it, because you don't always have the time, to coach and do your job. Coaching takes time. It really does. And you have to build that relationship with that individual so that they can trust you and, take on some of that, that energy, because you're not giving advice necessarily. You might share some things when you're coaching, but when you're coaching, you are really helping that individual figure out their path. You're asking those powerful, open-ended questions, and they are able to take that and drive themselves forward, right? You help to pull it out of them. So companies will invest because they don't always have the time to do that and do their job throughout the day, 8 hours a day. It's going to run them in, to the evening, and, they're going to work 80 hours a day if they're coaching and doing their regular job. It's not always possible. So, and to give them the time that they truly deserve, you want to make sure that they have that ample amount of time. Not only that, coaching has been, studies have shown and proven that it works. It absolutely does work. And you also can not only coach an employee to success, but you can also coach employees to figure out, is this really what you want to do, right? Is this the right environment? Is this the right position for you? And you coach them to their next opportunity, is what I like, to call it. So you're coaching them to their next opportunity, or you're coaching them to success within the organization or in another organization. So it's very important. It's imperative that you have coaching, you have training, so that you continue that growth within the organization and personally and individually with that individual. So yes, companies will, and they have, invest and pay for coaching, training, and development.
Yeah, and it's like what you say, like maybe somebody will not always stay. However, you're coaching them and you're investing in them while they're at your company. And to look beyond, let's say, if they happen to leave, you know what? You invested in them, and supporting them in becoming a better, more educated, happier person. And that in itself feeds the whole world, in energy and in everything. So either way, when you invest in coaching and you support your people and you do practice open-hearted businessing, it means that you actually, no matter where people go, how long they're staying, it means that you actually take part in creating a better, more positive and healthier world. And that in itself goes back to basics. Why are you here? It's like we're all here to be the best that we can be at every given moment and grow and work on our happiness and be compassionate and invest and support others, because we all live in this world together. So from a business perspective, even if you invest and they leave, you are investing actually back into yourself, because at the end of the day, we're all sharing and spreading the happiness or the unhappiness with each other.
Yes. And when you invest in your people, you are directly investing in your company, in your organization, in your business. It's going to thrive when you're investing in your people. And you know what's interesting, Jacqueline? A lot of times you might have employees who don't always want to share things directly with their direct, supervisor or manager or director. Not that they don't, trust them, but sometimes it takes a little bit more to help open them up. So having a third party, coach or individual coming in, it allows them to really open up even more and to see the opportunities for them to grow and for them to thrive. And you mentioned happiness and mindfulness, and I tie that directly into positive psychology, which I am extremely passionate about, because positive psychology is the study of what makes life worth living, right? And you really do have to, talk with people about, hey, what is it that makes your life meaningful, and it's a holistic point of view. So you have to look at those things and really focus on that. And that's really what really drives that happiness, I believe, in their individual lives, but also, in the workplace as well.
Oh, I agree with you so much. I mean, we could probably talk for hours and hours about it.
Yes.
So you have been in so many places and done so much, and in the Air Force and higher education and. I mean, I read your bio. I'm like, wow. So how does all of that, come together and help you in doing what you do today, in supporting your people in such an incredible, wonderful way, viewpoint, energy? I mean, you're just amazing. How does it all bind together for you to help you?
Oh my goodness. I have had the pleasure, I've had the honor, and just truly grateful to be in positions and places where I can serve people. That is one of the, the biggest things that I look forward to. In the Air Force, one of our core values is, service before self, right? Excellence in all that we do. So I really do try to, put that service before myself, and really do everything with excellence. And learning all of those experiences, right? I've seen so many things. I've been a part of, different challenges and great opportunities. I've failed, I've succeeded, right? I have had lows, I've had highs, and, have had some great accomplishments and successes. But, it didn't come without support. It didn't come without that village of, people helping me get to where I am. So with all of that, it is my duty, it is my job. I feel my obligation, right? My passion to make sure that I am putting myself out there to help people thrive, to help people grow and develop and move forward, in their future. Whatever it is that they want to accomplish, that is what I am here to help them do, whether it's in my job or, volunteering for a nonprofit or, in my church organization. That is what I love to do and thrive doing. I realize that there's so many challenges that happen in this world. There's so many great things that happen in this world as well. So with those experiences, I've had an opportunity to take part in many of them, and it has helped me grow. It has helped me develop, as an individual. And I never in a million years thought I would be where I am today, sitting in a C-suite level position, right? Having the opportunity to change lives. With the company that I'm working with, Net Synergy and LT3 Group, we have the opportunity to reach people every single day with what we're doing. And part of that is training people in the tech field, right? Making sure that we are upskilling and working with workforce development in the community. And so really helping people thrive. That is my goal, helping them each and every day succeed and, to do the things that they love and enjoy.
Wow. I mean, I have like an energetic feeling right now. I just love your energy. I love your passion, and you're just so inspirational. It's just amazing. So I'm just so grateful
Thank
that
you.
you're on the show and that you're in front of people, you know, sharing this and all that. So how do you keep your cup full? Because, you know, you're talking about serving, and honestly, serving from an empty cup, that is not sustainable over time, and it's definitely not as passionate and full of energy as you are. So your cup is full. How do you keep your cup full so every day, you know, or every moment you can actually really serve people fully with full energy and from the bottom of your heart and really meaningful too?
Yes, I truly believe that God has been preparing me each and every day, you know, all of my life to keep my cup full and running over. You know, I've truly been blessed, but I will say that I have great people in my life. My husband, number one, you know, Carl Sidney, is an amazing supporter, you know, of everything that I am doing. And I did not always have that, right? I've been someone who has, you know, I had children. You know, I've gone through, you know, divorce, and I remarried. So, you know, my life was not without challenges and struggles, you know, in the very beginning. But those are experiences that, you know, they drove me, you know, to do the things that I am doing and to be successful. And in those experiences, I realized that I could not do it alone. So you have to really build a great support system around you, a great team of people. I have some great friends, you know, that are part of my life as well. And my CEO and I and our leadership team, we are also, you know, really good friends as well. We've built those relationships with one another. And so they support everything that I do. And again, my husband and children, they support everything that I do. So it really is about having that support system, because you cannot do it alone. And I know you've written a lot of really great books, as well, Jacqueline. And, you know, one of the things that I will say is you do talk a lot about mindfulness and happiness and healthy, building that holistic, healthier you. And that is a big part of my life as well. So exercising, right? Meditating, you know, sitting in the center of my own silence sometimes, and just really, you know, focusing on what it is that I need to do to develop and grow and be better, but also being healthier. If it's drinking more water, right? Those are things that we all know that's hard to do sometimes. But, you know, I'm always striving to drink 80 ounces of water a day, to be a healthier, you know, me, you know, walking 30 to 45 minutes a day. You know, if you can't run, get out there and walk, right? And just really experience the beautiful air and sunshine that is outside, you know, sometimes, because those are things that are going to help you keep that energy and help you, you know, keep moving forward. But surrounding yourself also with wonderful, supportive, positive people that are going to continuously, you know, keep you real, but also lift you up and build you up and keep you inspired. So those are the things that I do each and every day. And I'm grateful for my wonderful support system that helps me, you know, along the way as well.
That's wonderful. And I mean, what I'm picking out of that wonderful way how you shared yourself and what you're doing for yourself is to say a little bit more no to negativity and say a lot more yes to positivity, and not to
Absolutely.
get so engulfed in the negativity, but get engulfed into the positivity and just let the negativity a little bit on the side, leave it on the side. Not everything always has to be
Yes.
talked about, figured out, or whatnot, and just go a little bit more into the positive side. And you do this every day, more and more and more, and all these
Mm-hmm.
good things that you mentioned. I mean, it's just, you're gonna feel so good. You have to feel it, you know, so to understand what we're really meaning, and
Mm-hmm.
to really give yourself that, you know, give yourself that allowance to feel
Yes.
good anyways and follow that positive path. Really good. Really good. I
Absolutely.
love it.
And Jacqueline, you have to start every day, right? You have to make
Yes.
sure that you
Yes.
wake up with that, because all kinds of things might happen. I tell people all the time, you might wake up one day and you're running behind. Your dog, you know, may pee on your floor, right? There's so many things that
Something.
might happen, and you know you have to get to work at a certain time. But you know, there is an admiral who had a motivational speech, and he talked about, you know, waking up every day and making your bed. so that
Oh
you
yeah, I know that.
have
Yeah.
that one single accomplishment every single day. And that is something that I really do thrive on. I try to wake up every day and accomplish something, whether it's making my bed, I might listen to a podcast or listen to music and really get my energy going, and look in the mirror and say, hey, you can do this, right?
You
You
can do
got
this.
this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
keeping that positive mentality going. And some people will say, Jacqueline, to me sometimes, how do you stay so positive? Or why are you so happy? And I'm grateful. I have to start my day with gratitude. You have to reflect
Love it.
each and
Love it.
every single day on, how far you've come, and realize, hey, I am not where I used to be, but I am grateful for where I am today. Always learning, always growing, putting in the work and the effort to be a better version of myself every single day, and to be the best me that I can be, and to help make others better as well. So those are things that keep me going, gives me that energy, keeps me happy. But really focusing on, that gratitude is extremely important. When you focus on that and you're grateful and thankful for just the simple air that you breathe, right? That you can walk or you can get up every day and do the things that we do. That is what is going to really keep you in that positive, mindset, because you feel like, hey, I can take on the world. And one thing that I will add to that, one of my favorite quotes is, the reward is greater than the sacrifice. And I have to remind myself of that every single day, whether I'm, focusing on my, PhD classes, or, going through, challenging times at work and trying to really build that best culture, that we possibly can. I have to focus on the reward is greater than the sacrifice. And it's going to be so sweet in the end. And it is now, right? So those are the things that I focus on.
Absolutely. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I mean, there's really nothing that I want to add on to than just go for it. Go for feeling good and do it. So, where can people find you? Because I think the whole world needs to get in contact with you and support what you do, and just listen to you and just take in that energy and feel how elevated you can actually get. So, where can people find you?
Yes, they can find me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn has my first and last name. I go by Sidney, but as but they can find me on LinkedIn as Chimere Sidney, which starts with the C. They can also find me on Facebook as Sidney CL. So I'm there as well. I live in Tampa, Florida, and I always tell people that they can always visit us, at LT3 Labs, which is a part of our company, and that's at University Mall. They are doing some really, really great things over there. The innovation partnership that we're working with, Florida Blue, different, organizations that are really helping to build up that area and, develop the workforce. We are, over in those areas. So people can always find me over there, or they can, simply look me up online. I am happy, to work and, with people and volunteer, help coach and develop people, but really just have a coffee chat, sit down and get to know people and figure out how I can, help them,
That's
thrive.
what I just wanted to say. Just go buy her a cup of coffee. She's amazing. So, and we're kind of neighbors because I'm in Tampa too. So,
and I love coffee. I love coffee.
There we go. There we go. We got it all covered. Just go visit her and follow her and everything. So, thank you so much for being on my show. I really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Jacqueline. And thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure. And I'm always happy to come back anytime that you need me to.
Let's do it again. That's wonderful. So to all the listeners, I hope this inspires you. I hope you're going to really feel the energy and you're pumped and going into your new day or weekend or whatever it is when you're listening to this podcast episode, really happy, positive, and you're staying in that high for life frequency. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you.